Welcome to Season 4 of the Biz Show, sponsored by InvestQuire. Discover what's next with this insightful podcast. And now, your hosts, Barry and Lisa. Hey, Barry, how are you?
Lisa, I am doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Have a little bit of a head cold going on, but I'm surviving.
That's a good thing. We want you to survive. I don't need
Yeah,
my business partner not surviving.
we don't have a choice. Like, we are beckoned to come to meetings and deal with time frames. And so, yes, we have to be on our A game, like at all times.
Yeah, some days are better than others for sure, but typically you and I are on our A game a lot, and I like that.
Exactly. And that has a lot to do with sales because if you snooze, you lose.
Well, this is true, and that brings us into this podcast.
That's right. We're
Welcome, everybody, to the Biz Show. This is episode 22 of season 4, and we are in the sales area of our podcast. And this one, Lisa, is what?
we love to talk about sales because it's such an art, but we're talking about how to sell without sounding too salesy. Nobody likes that, right?
You know, I pay attention a lot when I'm out and about and people come up. You go into a store, right? Like a clothing store, and immediately the salesperson, oh, can I help you find anything? And stuff like that. It's like, no, go away. I don't even know what I'm looking for yet.
And what happens? We put our walls up, right? We put a guard up and we don't want to even talk to them because we're actually
Yes.
probably thinking about what we're shopping for or trying to get a feel for the store. So, yeah, there's an art to it. You don't want to come across too forward, but then again, you want to capture the client. So, we're going to
True.
talk all about
And today things have changed so much today, right? It's not about selling, it's more about building that rapport and that relationship.
this.
Training, sales training, what is when they teach you it, they're teaching from 20, 30 years ago.
That's right. And you want to have an experience, I think, as a client now. You want to have a memory, actually, that when you're encountering a salesperson, that you would really want to refer them or go back to them in the future. And so you have to think in terms of the audience. We always say that in how you interact with them. Like, how would you want to be treated? How do you want to make them feel ultimately by the end of the sales experience? So
I would love for the salesperson to pay for everything.
I know.
That's
Well,
how I want to be treated.
there are a lot of, discounts that could be offered or what is there, buy one, get two free. There's things like that could make you feel really happy at the end of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's
So,
always those.
anyways, really stop selling, right? Start helping. Um, and expertise is what's going to close your deals.
Yes, exactly. The buyers,
So
when you be informed and not overloaded with information. So the best salespeople today don't sound like salespeople at all. They just sound like they're passionate about what they're delivering and they actually want to help you with what you're needing to buy.
yeah, I can count so many sales situations that I've been in as the customer side, right?
Yeah,
And I immediately know when it just makes a wrong turn, right, from whatever the salesperson said. But
yeah.
also, and I'm not a sales guy, but I'm a business guy, right, and a management guy. So a lot of times I will help the salesperson sell me.
True. That's right. Because you're trying to get them to get to know you. So you're trying to make their job a little bit more seamless so they don't have to try so hard.
Yeah.
Um, and there's not a lot of customers like you and I because most of the customers are so standoffish, so you can't really get a good read. But when you are like you and I, we're actually enjoying talking to the person, then we make their job easy.
I guess that's what it's like being an extrovert, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
We talk to anybody. Um, Everywhere I go, I'm always talking to people. Just
Yeah,
bringing up a conversation. I'm not selling anybody anything, but I have a conversation with them.
that's right.
So why traditional sales doesn't work anymore, right? Like it used to, right? So in 2026, buyers have already, number one, researched online, right? They've gone in the internet. If they're going to buy a hammer, They've already gone in and looked at all the hammers online and found the one that they want. Right?
Yes.
They've watched videos on how to use that hammer, without smacking their thumb.
You can tell too because they actually sound like they know more than you and they're telling you.
Exactly, exactly. They've read
Right.
all the reviews, right? They've compared all of the competitors, right? They
Yeah.
know that you're the cheapest in town because that's what they're hunting for. And then
Right.
they've also checked with all their friends on social media and stuff like that. This is before they even walked in the door and talked to you. So,
Right.
as a salesperson, you need to understand that and know that.
Yeah, and when that does happen, it kind of clicks on my mind like, oh, wow, this person has done their homework. And so then you have to find out like their pain points, like what are they really trying to get product or service. And so if you could listen to while they're talking and maybe catch on to those clues or cues, then you'll be successful in your close. But the old
Mhm.
approach is just to get to the hard close, like just to drill into them why this is the best. And you're just really overselling the product or service. And you're using a lot of pressure tactics and probably more scripted pitches because back then in the old days, your boss, when you're hired, would give you a script. And if they're listening and if you didn't adhere to it, you probably were out the door fired. So that was the old way of doing things. And that really does, in today's day and age, create resistance because people are so well informed, like Barry mentioned, from doing their own research online. So they're just going to like get probably like turned off by that approach. Because today's buyers really want to know that you are educated in the product because they've already done their homework. So they want to know that you know what you're selling and that you're confident about the product and maybe have used it yourself. And they want full transparency. So sometimes they'll ask you, what is the negative or how does this compare to another vendor or product? And it's good to show the pros and the cons just so they know that you're not lying or overselling the product. And again, expertise and providing a solution to them is really like keying into their pain point and how this is going to benefit them in the future.
Yeah. It's as you said this, right? You said a key word there, and that was education.
Yeah,
And that they're educated. And
right.
it took me right immediately to when I bought my car a couple years back. The salesperson, he knew a lot about my car. Obviously, I didn't know anything about it because I was kicking the tires, right?
Yeah.
But what really sold me was the fact that he showed me a couple hidden features on the car that weren't in the manuals, you didn't know, or anything like that. I'm like, oh wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool. He knew the vehicle, so cool. I bought
Yes.
it, right?
Bought it because of that. Yeah. They were like, oh, this guy knows all about it. And now you can feel like you're benefiting from owning it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So, and I did, and I like it, and I use the hidden features all the time.
That's it.
So what does Salesy sound like, right? Typically in the past we've heard that, oh, this is the best product on the market. You need to get this one, right? Or you need to act now before they all go and disappear. Or trust me. Yeah. It's funny. I've always, 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 for the last 40 years, as soon as somebody says, trust me, I don't
Yeah.
anymore.
No more.
Yep. I
Yeah.
don't. Why do you have to say trust me?
Yeah,
If you have to
exactly.
say trust me, then yeah, now I'm looking.
Oh, exactly. That's a red flag for sure.
It is. I use the trust and verify, right? So when they do that, then I'm yeah, okay, fine, great. But now I'm going to go verify it.
Oh, yeah. It's
So
definitely
and
not
then
a good.
the last piece is, hey, this offer's not going to last long.
Oh
Those
my.
are all high pressure sales tactics, right? It's not going to last long. Act now. There's a limited. That's another one. Limited, right? Limited inventory.
Oh, that really makes me say we only have a few left. It's like, of course you do, because they're trying, that's their call to action line. And
Yeah.
you can't blame a company for using that because it does create a little fear factor that maybe could make people pull the trigger. So just don't overuse it or use it too often or think that's going to, be the key to closing a deal. But I mean, that's definitely a common one.
It is, and I had I don't want to say an argument with somebody just yesterday about this, but a
Oh,
debate
really?
because
Like
I was
what?
talking to a person that had a online book, right? So it was online, it's
Okay.
virtual, and they told me it had limited stock. I'm like, really? You get limited stock on something that you got infant stock in?
That's great. How does that work?
and
Does that
and
mean
then
they're
they
always
caught
like,
themselves. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, limited. Well, we're only going to sell like 10 copies this month.
oh gosh, that is so dumb. So that means they
Okay,
don't want to make more money? Like that's what I would think.
exactly. So what happens if I'm the 11th? Are you going to make me wait till next month?
Are you going to retire and move to
Well,
Costa
the book
Rica?
was only $19, so they ain't going to retire on selling 10 of them.
Yeah.
$190. I go. I'm going to Mexico.
But no, that's a good point, Barry, because that's how stupid some salespeople actually sound. It's so
Right,
ridiculous. Like,
right.
oh my God, good luck. They need to take
Hmm.
some classes from InvestQuire. Did you tell them to listen to our podcast?
Actually, I did not because I didn't stay on the phone with them long enough.
That's funny. You were just like, this is a waste of my time. Click. Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, these statements will create so much skepticism because they're really self-serving. They're only caring about maybe their wallet and being able to, pay their bills. And so they're just, you could tell it's so transparent that they're just being self-serving. They want to make a sale for themselves. They don't really care about you, and they don't have any proof to back up, why is there limited quantity. And facts are really when you could like kind of turn the page for the customer, because then they realize, well, oh wow, this is backed by actual data and facts. What they're telling me is indeed true. So don't just focus on the seller, focus on the client, focus on their needs, act like you're caring. That creates the relationship and bridges the gap, because that's really what the trust is going to start kicking in, and where they're actually going to maybe want to buy the product, even if they walked in the door thinking, I'm not buying anything. I mean, like Barry said, when the salesman with the car, showed him some features, that he was actually feeling like, I think Barry, you're probably feeling like he was spending extra time in talking to you on certain aspects of the car that he didn't have to bring up even. So
Yeah.
don't act like, what's in it for me? I got to pay my bills. I want to, earn this commission or this paycheck. Just really like focus on the client. What have you got to lose? But make a new relationship, a new friend, maybe somebody that's going to, maybe even if they don't buy, they're going to tell their friend to go talk to you because you were great. It was a great experience with you.
Yeah. At the end of the sale, I felt like that person was a friend.
Oh,
Not a salesperson that made a commission on selling me a
yeah,
car.
there's the difference.
Yeah, there is a difference. And
Hmm.
I bought it in the beginning of June, so I already bought the car. And then like 3 weeks later was my birthday, and he sent me a birthday card.
Oh my gosh. See,
He didn't
follow up.
have to. He already made the sale.
Exactly. So you'll probably refer him other clients that are looking for that car.
I'll refer him to you because he's in California.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. I don't need a car yet, thankfully.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so let's talk about the new sales model, right? And what that
Yeah,
looks like. And
yeah,
basically, it's more of an advisor role nowadays, right? Instead of selling, they've become the trusted advisor, right? They're asking you questions to help you pinpoint where you want to go. Like, what problem are we trying to solve today, right?
yes.
What's most important to you, and what happens if you do nothing? And a lot of salespeople don't say that, right? A lot of them don't say, if you don't buy it today, what happens?
Yeah. How does
Because
that
the
affect?
answer 90% of the time is going to be, well, nothing happens. I just go home and I grab a soda and I sit down and watch TV, whatever, right?
Yeah. But if they can identify like how their life could change by potentially owning the product, that's where you could really like expand the conversation and just, really kind of relate to them, and maybe bring up your own personal experiences on how, the product maybe benefited you or a loved one or something. And then you just sort of like open up their minds to like, wow, this is really maybe more of an urgent purchase than I realized. So the best sales conversation is like consulting and, advising them like how this could help them. And ultimately that is again is showing that you care. And so you're kind of like coaching them around this idea of purchasing it and why it's going to benefit them, and giving them, a list of reasons that maybe they can't live without it, and that maybe time is of the essence, because then they're going to be able to make their life better, or maybe not have to suffer through some of the things that they're dealing with currently, and that this would benefit them tremendously. So you're there to show them that you're solving their problems, and that you actually care about like what their history has been, without, owning this specific, product or service. So you're not pitching, you're just like learning, and you're doing a discovery conversations that you could provide a consultation basically on, their needs. And again, we're focusing on their needs and not even the product. Like you just want to learn about them as a person. So when I have team members, hold an open house at a listing of mine, I tell them, don't try to sell the house. Like ask them, how did you hear about, how did you come in the door today? Like, where did you hear about this house? And, where do you live? And how many, what's your family size? What do you like to do? And then, if they're like, oh, we love biking and hiking and taking the kids to the beach. Well, then you could kind of tie in the positive aspects of the property that could help them enjoy those things that they like to do in their lifestyle. So again, you're
Yeah,
getting to know them as people and how they like to experience, day-to-day living. And then you could tie in those aspects, right? And like connect the gap and bridge the gap. So
I
then they
like
realize,
that.
wow,
I
this
like that a
could,
lot.
yeah. So I just try to not to like be like, oh, this is the best house and it's got 5 bedrooms, but just talk to the client like a person. Like we're all people. We're all going through life in the same way. We put on our pants the same way in the morning. And so
I
it's like
thought you were an alien.
sometimes I
Get
feel
your
like,
get your little antennas sticking up there.
yeah, well, I feel like I'm an
I
alien.
got antennas. They hold up my halo. The horns hold up my halo.
They have to be held up, huh, Bear?
Yeah, it's tarnished.
You're a wolf in sheep's clothing.
My well, my devil horns are holding up my halo.
Oh my gosh, I
I'm
find that
sitting
hard.
on the fence. I don't know which way to go.
Every day, it's the devil on one shoulder and the angel on another.
I know where all my friends are, and they ain't
Yeah.
up there.
I mean, and that could kick in when you're dealing with a really difficult client. You just want to like strangle them and go, "Why are you being so difficult?"
How
Um,
many of those have we had, Lisa?
yeah,
Many.
yeah. I have a
So many.
girlfriend that's so good at like breaking down those barriers when people do that. She's so good because she just goes straight in to get to know them. She doesn't like play the little, game beating around the bush, so to speak, but she just
Hmm.
goes straight in and it's amazing to watch because she gets them to open up. I'm like, you could be the best salesperson, because she's just really has a great tactic and then the people become friends with her at the end of it.
So as the saying goes, she could sell ice water at Eskimos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my saying.
It's funny when you were talking about the salesperson and the conversation, the coaching, and the counseling and consulting. Something came to mind, and that is
Yeah.
product knowledge. Right, the fact that
Mm,
if you can do those things, you need product knowledge because you got to know the product and what you're talking about in order
yeah.
to coach and consult them, so on and so forth. So if you, as a salesperson, study the product, understand everything about it, that's going to really pay off.
Yeah, that's definitely the second half of that. Once you're consulting them, you want to know that you have those facts in your and the data in your mind to offer as value. So that's a
Yeah,
very important piece of that, Barry. I'm glad you mentioned
yeah. It just kind of, poof, you know,
that.
my mind
But
wanders, and it wandered into that.
I
Boom,
left that
hit the
part out.
wall.
That's why we're doing the podcast together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's give them some steps, Lisa, on how they can frame things naturally, shall we?
Okay. It's a 5-step process.
So yeah. So step number one is be curious, right? Be inquisitive. Ask, as you said earlier, ask them questions. Like you said, hey, how did you find us today? What brings you here? Stuff like that. Because now as you learn that information, you can start figuring out how to put all these puzzle pieces together, right? So talk less, listen more.
Mhm.
Great salespeople learn before they recommend, right? So yeah, learn everything about the customer, learn everything about the product. We already talked about product knowledge, but learn everything about the customer too, so that you can then make the parallels, right? If you can't make the parallels, then you're not going to get the sale.
Yes, exactly. And Barry has a great saying. He's always saying, diagnose before prescribing. Like doctors are not going to prescribe you medicine without them diagnosing the situation. So you want to understand again their pain points, why they even walked in the door, what they're looking for in terms of, how this item could benefit them. So understand the symptoms, understand their needs fully. And once they know that you've got that, grasp it, then they start like trusting you even a little bit more. Um, so you shouldn't be too salesy. You want to understand their challenges, their goals, their constraints, and maybe what their hesitations are, even so that you could address the hesitations in a positive way, right?
Always, always, and there's always going to be hesitations, right? Even if it's a hesitation that I don't like the color of your hair, who knows, right?
Yeah. And sometimes people use reverse psychology. They're like, oh, well, yeah, maybe this isn't the time for you. And then that creates the urge in some people because they're using reverse psychology, thinking, well, maybe I'm going to miss out. This girl's so nice. She's talking to me about how great that, if you already like establish that relationship, then perhaps you can use that reverse psychology tool.
Oh, psychoanalyze. I see. All
Yeah.
right, all
I
right.
was, maybe you don't want to earn it. Maybe you don't want to earn
Yeah,
it yet. Maybe you don't want to increase your productivity. It's okay.
yeah, I guess. Well, step number three is educate, right? So educate yourself again on the product. Can't mention that enough, but also share any insights that you have about the product or services, any experiences you might have had with it, right? And then any options that are available. Like, my sales guy, he showed me some options on the car that weren't even in the manuals, and they were hidden secrets.
Yeah. And
It
step four
helps. It helps.
helps them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps them make the decision. Step four, make recommendations. So I always say, like, to present solutions based on their needs and not your own needs, but definitely present a solution to their problem. And I always say, make recommendations. Like, if you want to test it out first, or if you want to talk to a client that bought the exact same thing, 5 months ago, then maybe you could send them that reference or that person's number or testimonial you could share with them so that they're knowing that other people have used it, other people have had success. And it changes the conversation from sales to actually like, I care about your hesitancy. I care about you, wanting to know if it does really work or benefit, somebody. So you're actually maybe helping them understand that, hey, there's a mass market out there that has already bought this and purchased it and used it. And you're not just the salesperson saying, well, I use it and it's great. So I always say, make recommendations for them to explore the product even further so that they can understand how it could be beneficial.
Exactly. And that kind of just leads into step five, right? Is let them make the decision themselves because you've educated them, you've given them the facts, you've showed them options, you've had those recommendations, right? And now you've given them all this information. You have to step back and let them say, oh, okay, ring me up.
Yeah, it's so
I,
funny.
I remember having a few salespeople, do you want one or do you want two? I'm like, you know what? Now I want zero.
Oh
Goodbye.
my God. Yeah, that's so funny when they try to add you or upsell you, then you're like, oh, great. I hate
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah. So, how content marketing makes selling easier? How does it?
Well,
Content.
again, so, as we mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, the buyer has already educated themselves on the
Yeah.
product or the services, right? So, content and your marketing piece of it is, going to provide that information to them, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's like we're doing right now in a podcast, right? Or on YouTube, LinkedIn, articles, your website, whatever works, right? So, but the thing is know that they are going to be researching this prior to walking in your door.
Yeah. More than
So
likely.
that content can make the sell a lot easier.
Yes, exactly.
And then
So by
if you
the
need help writing that content, Lisa's your person.
I love, well, I do that on a daily basis. We have to provide content for our marketing to make it stand out in the crowd and
Yes.
make the audience want to learn more. So by the time, they contact you, their trust is a little bit higher. They've seen a history of your business or services online. The credibility is totally established at that point. They know that you're reputable. They know you've been in the business a long time, hopefully. And so the resistance is a little bit less, a little bit lower than, them not being able to find you anywhere online. I know so many people are like, oh my God, you don't have a website? I mean, how long have you been in business? Can you prove it? And that sort of thing. And so it's really helpful to have that content available to the public. So much of the time, marketing does like a subconscious sales on the individual without you having to even put all of that effort, in person. So that background marketing is very, very helpful and important because it does the selling for you.
It does, at least half of it, right? You just have to ring the sale up.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but again, there are mistakes that salespeople make and business owners make, and number one mistake is they're not listening. Right? They talk too much, and you and I have a couple people that we work with, not with InvestQuire, but they are investors or whatever, or some of our customers, and they can't shut up. It's like, take a
Yeah.
breath. I want to say something too. And you never can get a word in because they just keep on rambling.
Yes. It's very annoying. I mean, I can't stand that. And then mistake number two is pitching before understanding. And again, that's because they're talking too much. They're not actually asking the right questions to their customer, and they just probably treat everybody that they deal with the same way. And so they're really not being helpful.
Right. Number three mistake is they lead with all the features without understanding what the buyer is looking for, right? What's the outcome here? Because who cares about a lot of those features, right? There's a problem they want solved, and you haven't hit it with those features.
Exactly. Mistake number four is trying to close too quickly. Oh my gosh. I had an agent once say, I got to go, got to hurry up and look at this house because I have to go somewhere. And I'm like, oh, did you really? I mean, they're spending 800,000 upwards uh, uh, in money of their own hard-earned income, and you're telling them to hurry up on this decision. It's just, yeah, that's such a tacky move. Do not try to close too quickly. Again, you're putting your own needs before theirs.
Yes, definitely so. And,
Yeah.
and last, number five is basically don't make it about yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's as that salesperson just did. It was more about their time constraints and what they
Yeah.
needed to do then. And I'm probably sure that that person didn't buy the house from them.
No, they did not. No. I had to come in and save the day. Just kidding.
Yay! You get a cape, huh? And you probably get that little lasso like Wonder Woman,
Oh yeah, I
the
love when
lasso of
people,
truth.
because then I get the client.
There you go. Well, there you go. All
Yeah,
right. So six
we need
pro
to,
tips now.
yeah,
Tip number
exactly.
one: ask twice as many questions as you answer.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So if you're asking them questions, you're finding information out
Mm.
about them, and then that can again help you formulate and draw the parallels of where this fits.
Yeah, I always say that when you are hanging out with even like a group of people or you're meeting somebody for the first time and they don't really try to ask you questions about yourself and they're just talking about themselves the entire time you're at dinner or whatever. I'm just thinking that was so non-relational. Like the entire time was just about them. And I mean, this is in personal life too. So it does carry over into the business sales
It's
situation.
character. I think it's character, right? So, and that character spills business and personal. So, pro tip number two is focus on the outcomes, right? Not the features. And we mentioned that earlier, right? For obvious reasons, right? They might not be looking for, I could care less about the features. They want to know about, is it going to solve their problem?
Yeah, bring
And
that
then,
in.
yeah.
And yeah.
And then tip number three is if you're doing most of the talking, you've already lost the sale.
Yeah, because then you're not even gauging where they're at.
Yeah.
They could just be
It's all
having
about you again, right?
a generic smile on their face and probably thinking, when can I get out of here? Yeah,
Looking at the imaginary watch. Look, it has past a freckle to the hair.
yeah. Pro tip number four, people trust authenticity more than polished pitches. So I always tell my sales team to be very genuine and to know yourself, know your value proposition, know um, why you're passionate about your job, and just bring that forward. And that really will create the trust rather than worrying about what you're selling. You want to be a real person, and and people will see that. So it'll be very obvious. Pro tip number 5, listen for emotional drivers. So when you're speaking to them, you may see their body language change, or they might, get a little bit more excited, or their color in their face may change. There's so many ways to pinpoint when you actually are connecting to the client. And I've taken classes on that as a coach, and Barry and I, maybe we can do a podcast about that. But look for
That
their
might be
emotional
a good
drive.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just the business aspect, but how you can read people is really key in being an effective salesperson.
Right.
And
I
pro
mean, I
tip,
know, like, when they start folding their arms when you're talking to them and they take a step back, you've lost them.
oh yeah, the eye contact isn't there and things like that.
They start looking around.
Yeah.
They're looking around when you're talking to them. They're looking for an exit.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Pro tip number 6 is follow up with value, not pressure. So sometimes I'll ask them, do you think this could benefit you? And how do you feel about this house? Or, I ask them actually a question to show them that I care about whether this is adding value or not. Because then whether to waste your time trying to sell or maybe find them another solution.
Yeah, definitely so. Um, so, we've already done the mistakes and stuff like that, and the things to avoid. Pretty much are the same things, right? So, not listening and talking too much, high pressure sales tactics, pitching before you understand what the problem is, leading with the features instead of the benefits, and so all that's kind of redundant in that sense.
Yes, exactly. So hopefully you guys got some key points out of this, or at least some friendly reminders, because sometimes we fall into that trap of just, selling because, we're tired, or we're not fully on that day. So just, yeah, keep this top of mind and maybe share it with some other people. If you can help us get our audience count up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our numbers will keep growing. And then
We can
there,
see more people. More people can see us.
yes,
You know,
exactly.
to me, I think, just one last comment is the fact that the sales cycle today has completely changed from what it was, 10 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, right? It's more about the relationship than it is the
Well, it's
sales
so funny.
pitch.
People order things online and they don't even have to deal with a human.
There you go. Amazon has really nailed that home, hasn't they?
Yes, exactly.
All
So
right, guys. Well, listen, thank you so much. You can get a hold of Lisa or myself at investquire.com and at the Biz Show on Facebook.
that's right. Feel free to reach out anytime. We love to hear from you. And until next time, what do we normally say at the end?
Go out and make some money.
That's right.
That's right. Bye, guys.
Thank you all for listening to the Biz Show podcast. Subscribe to stay updated and follow Barry and Lisa on Facebook at The Biz Show. Share your comments or suggest business topics that you'd like to hear. Thank you all for listening. Bye.